let me come to one thing that is really of a bother to me. I heard my former minister talk about it, and I also want to talk about it. That is the issue of expenditure. Mr. Speaker, they presented to us, to the people of Ghana, that this government is a government that is going to rationalize expenditure and cut waste. But, Mr. Speaker, they should tell us where in this budget have they rationalized expenditure, where in this budget have they cut waste. Rather, they have sought to add 43.5 billion Ghana cedis to the expenditure budget. This is not Abena saying it. This is your budget speaking to that. Mr. Speaker, they are hoping that at the end of appropriation, we will give them the permission to spend 290 billion Ghana cedis. When, Mr. Speaker, this year is not an election year, so there are certain expenditures that they are not going to incur. We, in an election year, did an appropriation of 250 billion. So when you come and you tell Ghanaians that you are rationalizing expenditure and you are cutting waste, what are you doing? Nothing. Mr. Speaker, again, to be honest with you, I was hoping that the NDC would take advantage of the goodwill that the Ghanaians gave to them and voted massively for them to really show us some real cuts that will promote fiscal discipline and endure economic growth. But what have we seen? Spending spree. Mr. Speaker, spending spree. Most of this is being seen in fattened salaries at the office of the president, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I was hoping that they will come and then claim the waste in the system. They claim there was waste in the system in 2024. So I was hoping that they will come and cut things and make sure that the people of Ghana, get what is due them. But, Mr. Speaker, what do we see? We see 2.7 billion increase in the office of the president's salary alone. And then they want to explain it away with the fact that it is Ministry of Information that they added. There are 76 directors and staff that they added from the Ministry of Information that has resulted in that huge 2.7 billion allocation to them. But, Mr. Speaker, facts are sacred. When you look at the budget for OGM in 2024, SIGA was part of OGM. The Internal Audit Agency was part of OGM. Mr. Speaker, Scholarship Secretariat was part of OGM. There were quite a number of ministries as well as the development authorities. They were all part of OGM. But today, they are no more under OGM. So you ask yourself, all these ministries have been scrapped or agencies have been taken. How come you still have 2.7 billion under Office of Government Machinery? Mr. Speaker, they also explained that they added Ministry of the National Security Ministry. But, Mr. Speaker, in 2024, the compensation for national security was 1.28 billion Ghana cedis. So that assuming that you add your 10% to it, give or take, let's say it comes to 1.45 billion, and you add the existing 326 million to it, you still have $1 billion to explain to Ghanaians. Mr. Speaker, is this the lean government that the president talked about? That fine, okay, to the optics, I will reduce the number of ministers I nominate to the optics. But in the real deal, I will fatten the salaries of my officials and make sure they live well at the expense of other Ghanaians.